Back in 2016, it was an exciting time to be working at Buzzfeed. With a booming website and growing video division, they were on track to be one of the most valuable companies on the entire internet. And NBC Universal took notice, doubling their investment in the company from $200 to $400 million, with many predicting that soon enough the funding would turn the growing brand into a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate. Jumping to 2020, however, and things aren't looking as good. Searches for Buzzfeed have steadily dropped to 50% of what they were 5 years ago. Their main YouTube channel gets a third of what it did only 2 years ago. There have been mass layoffs to try to stop the monetary bleeding, and pay cuts have recently been placed on workers to try to prevent anyone else from losing their jobs. This has led many to ask what happened to cause this once gold standard of new media companies to become a dying brand that's now just fighting to stay alive in its current state. Well, as always, before we get to that, let's first take a look at why BuzzFeed became so popular in the first place a decade ago. While their website technically started in 2006 as an algorithm to find articles from across the web with a virality to them, it wasn't until 2011 when they started to produce their now infamous listicles. These were low-effort but easily consumable articles that could be shared on sites like Facebook and drive a ton of new traffic. The following year, they would begin to slowly ramp up their video division to make content with a similar goal as their articles: get a ton of clicks and be spread around. Eventually, the videos became more popular than the articles that preceded them, and would dominate the recommended tab on YouTube. Over time, they would continue to grow into a media juggernaut, with hundreds of millions of page impressions, and projections that made large corporations believe that this company would be making a lot of money soon enough. Coming back to current day, and the projection they had to raise all that money turned out to be faulty, and their hopes to be rolling in high-paying sponsorships for both the website and video division didn't turn out as well as expected. With their Alexa ranking on a downward spiral and most of their YouTube channels not getting the views they once did, last year the company had to give up the dream of growing, and instead just try to survive at their current size. On top of this, with these current financially unstable times, they've had to recently furlough some remaining employees, and dock the pay of others. And with all these cuts to people that weren't making them money, we can see the first of many reasons why BuzzFeed failed. They spent money on unprofitable divisions. As a young and progressive company, it's understandable that as BuzzFeed was on the rise, they hired a lot of people from minority groups that are underrepresented in traditional media, and allowed them to make content discussing their experiences. Needless to say, these weren't the high earners compared to videos about exes getting handcuffed together for 24 hours, or Mexicans trying Taco Bell for the first time. Because of this, when the layoffs happened, a lot of these people were on the chopping block, as it was niche programming that was most likely losing money. And of course, this led to people accusing the company of racism and sexism for letting them go. Whether you support BuzzFeed or not, the facts are that hundreds of people who made/worked on content speaking to marginalized and underrepresented groups are being laid off. And that is a problem. The thing I want to know is, what did these people expect BuzzFeed to do? This is a for-profit company, and I would assume most of these content creators were not making profitable content, hence why they were let go. When the numbers are rising and the investments are pouring in, these media companies like to have people on board merely to educate about social issues. But when things get tight and a person is losing them money, they shouldn't be surprised when they're the first to be let go. While I at least understood BuzzFeed's logic to have contributors that focus on diversity even if they're losing the company money, what I never understood was when they seem to make content that merely exists for no other reason than to stoke the flames of the anti-social justice warrior movement. No matter if you agree with them or not, the channel's videos critiquing manspreading or having women asking very stereotypical questions about men provided fodder to the commentary community to rip them apart, and lead to ill will for a business that was originally known for just making innocent listicles. I understand that maybe the goal was to start discussions and add a bit of edge so they no longer be known as just fluff content, but in the long run, I don't think irritating millions of potential viewers was a smart move financially. I'd actually really like to talk to the higher-ups for the logic behind making those videos, or maybe they were just too preoccupied with other things that their producers put them out without anyone questioning if it was a good idea or not. Another sector that the company sunk a lot of money into was investigative journalism. journalism in an attempt to bring them accolades and respect under the name Buzzfeed News. From what I can tell, these ventures probably don't make money, as this subdivision was a big part of the layoffs as well. On top of this, the brand still struggles to move past its image of making low-effort clickbait. Speaking of clickbait, another big thing that might have hurt BuzzFeed is that their shtick got old. Back in 2014, it may have been easy to sucker people to click on their lists or eye-catching videos with little substance. But in an ever-growing competitive market, getting those easy views are a lot harder now to obtain. Many online customers have a better sense of what's clickbait and have grown tired of the formats BuzzFeed popularized. You could only get away with something as low effort as what many of those list articles were for so long before people catch on to the scheme. People complain about BuzzFeed videos, but they usually do at least have a base level of quality control. On the other hand, many of their website lists are nothing more than GIFs slapped together on a page with nothing in terms of substance. So with them spending a lot of time making content that no one was watching, along with people getting tired of the content that was actually making them money, it was only a matter of time before they started to go downhill. Finally, onto my last theory for why BuzzFeed has been failing is brain drain. Back in 2018, I made a video discussing the trend of people making why I left BuzzFeed videos on YouTube, and how beyond the meme it could have a negative side effect on their business model. Unlike other new media companies that sink too much money into YouTube productions that will never see a profit, BuzzFeed was smart about making their videos cheaply, with most uploads just having people talking to a camera in front of a blank background. While that really is a perfect strategy to turn a profit on YouTube, the more popular and talented creators at BuzzFeed would all eventually think to themselves, wait a minute, why can't I just make these videos on my own and keep all the profits for myself? And that is what most of them did. Many of the people that made BuzzFeed popular moved their talent to their own companies and oftentimes would take their audience with them. They've had trouble replacing big names like the Try Guys and Sophia Nygaard, and even if they did find the next big name on YouTube, that person would probably leave as well. In conclusion, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably started to see a pattern of me talking about big companies getting funding to grow on YouTube, but when the numbers level off and those investors move on, they all seem to fizzle out. At least in the case of BuzzFeed, if they trim off the fat of their operation, they can probably have a profitable business. But at the end of the day, YouTube has continued to be a place where original content for the platform is usually done by independent creators, often working out of their bedrooms.